Jaguars fans, what is going on? Welcome back into the fan cave, man. I wish I was coming to you guys with better news, better energy, better everything. But man, after another straight loss, 17 straight going back to even to last year, 17 straight losses, 23 to 13, we fell to the Denver Broncos in week 2 of this 2021 NFL season. And man, there's a lot to be, to look at and say we played well, and then there's also some things where you just want to shake your head at and go, what the hell is going on with this Jacksonville Jaguar squad? What was Urban Meyer talking about that this team is going to be a relevant team? Because it's not, they haven't shown it thus far. Trevor Lawrence, he's shown that he is not ready to be the sole perpetrator for the offense. He needs help, and he's shown that he can be, but he has not yet become. If you're smelling what I'm stepping in there, he has the promise to carry the team, but he has yet to actually do it. And I believe that'll just come with time. He's a rookie quarterback, and he's figuring out this game. And he's gone up against two very, very good defenses and two defensive coordinators with Houston's and Denver's as well. So I'm going to give Trevor time on that, but he needs to quit reaching for the big play. Once the game was at a two-score gap, it was very clear that Trevor was trying to make up all of the ground with one play. There were several 30-plus yard, 25, 30-yard passes that, ultimately one of them even led to his interception. And so I believe if he can just reel it back in a little bit, look for those intermediate passes and not that home run play every third play, it's going to look a lot better for Jacksonville Jaguars fans and allow him to develop. That being said, I'm not upset with him trying. That's a sight for sore eyes in Jacksonville. So a player or a quarterback reaching down the field to make the big play happen. That's something we haven't seen. So to see it as fresh and new, it gives that little bit of a oh, he dropped it. Oh, he overthrew it. Oh, it's a little bit of excitement. It's better than nothing. But needs to reel him in a little bit. But I'm 1,000% okay with the deep play potential. And also, the play calling. Darrell Bevell needs to get away from getting all of these wide receivers to one side of the field. There were several plays in this game. I saw it a lot on Twitter as well. There was a lot of just kind of like just murmuring and just general upset attitude in the tweets I was seeing about how many players were just grouped up at the end of a play once the ball reached its target. And so I want to see Darrell Bevell spread the field out a lot more. The play calling seems stale, and it didn't. We got away from what I felt was working in the first half. A lot of short intermediate throws, giving James Robinson the ball, and just allowing them to allow that offense to flow through James Robinson and flow through the middle of the field. We got away from it, so unfortunately, but like I said, James Robinson, that offense was humming whenever he was getting the ball. I believe he had 9 carries this game, or it was somewhere around that 10 touch range. And so that being said, he needs to stay involved. This game was never to a point when it might have felt like it was towards the end, whenever Denver was just chewing clock. But every time this offense had the ball, it felt like we were still somewhat in it. Whenever you have Trevor Lawrence, I feel like, and you're in a 2-score game, you're always in it. And man, once we got away from running the ball, the whole offense just seemed to kind of implode, and it was a rough outing for this offense after that first drive. 80 plus yard drive, and after that I believe we ended with less than 200 yards of total offense after that. So you want to talk about, after that first drive, we basically scored up. We had 100 yards of offense after that first drive. That can't happen. We got to stick with the game plan. We got to keep. You had a great first drive. After that, things fell apart. Now, Denver was kind of capped at bay a little bit. I almost want to say. They did pressure Trevor Lawrence, but it wasn't sack after sack after sack like we were expecting, because Bradley Chubb started this game. And Von Miller is Von Miller. He's a surefire Hall of Famer once he retires. Bradley Chubb, if he keeps this pace for a 10, 12, 13-year career, he's probably going to be a Hall of Famer as well. And so those are, it's arguably the best pass rushing tandem in the league. And for one sack to be given up the entire game on a sack that was kind of just a junk play, the whole thing was just kind of felt weird. Manhurts chipped Von Miller. and then the offensive line just didn't pick him up after the chip, and he was essentially allowed free passage straight to Trevor Lawrence. There was no, especially after seeing the replays, he kind of chips him a little bit, and then after that, he was the invisible man. No one none of the front five saw him, and so he definitely folded Trevor Lawrence. But going back into that secondary, it's the same thing in Houston. Week 1 in Houston, it was Brandon Cooks killing us with the deep plays. This week it was Cortland Sutton, had 9 catches for like 120 some yards. It was a bunch of, it was a mess. He averaged like 18 yards a catch. It was, I'm Shaq Griffin with his 2 dropped interceptions. We had one in week 1 against Houston. This week he has a dropped pick, and just catch one of them, man. You're looking at like you could be, this tone about you in Jacksonville has changed if you have 2 interceptions, but you don't. You have 2 dropped interceptions. I need you on the jugs machine with the offensive receivers, because none of you can catch. Granted, you're a defensive back, okay, but you catch 1 or 2 of them. Even if you have 1 interception, the tone is different about you, right? The tone entirely changes with you having interceptions. That being said, get Andrew Wingard so far away from that field whenever he needs to be on defense, get him off the field. Put him in the locker room, put him in the parking lot, send him to the beach for a little bit, let him relax, because he doesn't need to be playing football. He especially does not need to be playing safety. Yeah, you can throw his stats at me and say he had a good game. No, he didn't. Watch the game. Because Andre Cisco could very well be making those same mistakes, and he has shown a whole lot more potential than Andrew Wingard has. Cool, you kept him for the special team abilities and Wingard. Cool, I'm with it. We got to have good special teams players. But let Andre Cisco make the mistakes Wingard's making in that second, and let him make them. Because if the mistake's going to be made, I would much rather have a promising rookie make them, just like Trevor. If it was Nick Foles, Bortles, Minshew, if it was any of them making those mistakes Lawrence is making, I'm yelling at my TV, because they're now veterans in this league. They're expected to know what they're doing. Same with Wingard. He's expected to know what he's doing. He's on the starting 11. Let Cisco make those mistakes instead. He has more leeway. He can make the mistakes. He can learn, and he can grow and be a great player. Also, I've never heard Andrew Wingard be talked about as a ball-hawking safety. That was like the biggest point, and that was the biggest marquee thing. Whenever you looked up Andre Cisco prior to the draft, you saw ball-hawking safety from Syracuse. That's what you saw. You didn't see ball-hawking safety named Wingard. Search that up. Google's going to come up with something that says 0 results found, because he doesn't do it. And so get him off the field. People are upset that Taven Bryan gets snaps. Andrew Wingard is upsetting me that he gets snaps. Let Cisco make those mistakes, not Wingard. Wingard is inexcusable. Cisco, he's a rookie. We can excuse it. Now, Josh Allen, played a hell of a game. He has 2 sacks in 2 games. He's on pace for 17, and that'd be a heck of a total. That would be up there in the top. That's Calais Campbell numbers in 2017. I believe he had 16 and a half, something like that, in 2017. So if he can get 17 sacks in 17 games, I'd be over the moon. That'd be a hell of a year for Josh Allen. Now to the other pass rushing end, Caleb Von Chason. Man, you've shown pressure. You've gotten pressure, but you've not gotten home. Jahad Ward has shown that he can also be better in the run game, but he's also had that ability to he's found the quarterback more often. He's been involved in more plays in the backfield. Jahad Ward, there was a little thing going on with him on Twitter with a bunch of his old Ravens players. Whatever, they're friends. They're friends. What am I going to say? I have friends in the Air Force, the Navy. I'm not going to be like, to hell with you because you're in the Air Force. No. They're my friends. I want to see them succeed, and that game that he was talking about had no implications on our game. So what does it matter that he was complimenting players from the Ravens? That's just weird. But I get off my soapbox about Jahad Ward, that whole situation. And so if Chason plays the same way he did this week and last week against the Cardinals, Week 4, I'd like to see Jahad Ward get a lot more of the defensive snaps at the other end position. I'm not saying anything bad with Chase on, but I want to see winning games. This isn't we don't have a big golden egg at the end of this tunnel if we go 0-17. We go 1-16, 2-15. There's no massive prize. Okay, maybe Kayvon Thibodeau. Yeah, so we can replace Caleb on Chase on. So if we don't need that, if we have someone great, we can go get that premier tackle. We can trade back to get, the 8th pick and pick up a premier tackle. Not saying that's how we're going to end. We're on the train for it. I'm hoping we find the stop where we need to get off. Pick up 5-6 wins this year. Now, going back into the middle of the defensive field, these linebackers, Miles Jack's playing well. He's not playing bad. He's just doing what he does. He flies around the field. Yeah, he's going to over pursue a couple times. He's going to make, a bad coverage here or there. Overall, he's Miles Jack. He's the best defensive player this team has. And outside of Trevor Lawrence, there's a good argument to be made. He's the best player on this team. And so I'm not upset with him. My problem is Damian Wilson versus Shaq Waterman. I think that's going to be a huge battle to watch going into week 3, week 4, week 5, because Shaq Waterman's slowly starting to get more and more playing time. He did get a whole lot in the preseason. Week 1, he didn't get a whole lot. Week 2, I believe they actually pulled Damian Wilson in. He might have been injured. I'm not sure about that. And then Shaq Waterman came in, and he looked like a serviceable middle linebacker. He kind of looked like that middle linebacker should look. And so I was excited to see him in. Obviously he's Duval grown. Well, he's from Oak but he's 904 grown, and who doesn't want to see that hometown kid succeed? It's just like if we had Derrick Henry on our team, we'd love to see the guy from Jacksonville and the surrounding area do incredibly well on the Jaguars. It'd be natural to watch a guy that was grown up, built up, being a Jaguars fan, playing well for the Jaguars. But whoever gives this team the best chance to win, I'm slowly starting to lose my confidence in Urban Meyer's personnel decisions, but overall, Quarterman's going to eventually see more and more playing time. And Damian Wilson, same thing with Chase on. Give him a couple more weeks. If we don't see what we want to see out of him, let someone else play. Because you have people behind them that are playing very well, and they're just not on the starting 11. So this defense didn't play bad. This was a bend but not break defense. This was an offense that was poised to score a good amount of points, and they slowed them down to a good amount of field goals. That right after there was a couple drives that looked like they were heading straight for the end zone, especially on the Josh Allen sack drive. That drive looked like it was destined to end in a touchdown, and it was bad. That they were marching right down the field with no end in sight. That Josh Allen sack completely screws up the drive. They end up kicking a field goal. Bend but don't break. That the defense, in my overall, from what I saw, they played well. The offense just could not put points up. Ultimately, you left 2 field goals on the board with Josh Allen, and you can say, yeah, it was raining. Yeah, they were 50-yarders. 52, 48. They were long in the rain. We've come to expect those from Josh Allen. Or, excuse me, Josh Lambo. I apologize. We've come to expect those from Lambo. Overall, it's just hard for me to look at this team and say, they can win. There's moments like that first drive of the game. I was excited. I was like, oh man, we've got something cooking here. And then the wheels just fell off, and that just seems to be the Jaguars storyline. I don't want to play the victim and be that battered, beaten Jaguars fan that I am. This team's done nothing to me but abuse me since I've honestly, I was born in '98. The last good season prior to 2017 they had was '99. What do I remember about that? Nothing. So I'm just a beaten, bruised, torn up Jaguars fan trying to spread some positivity, and this team's giving me none. So on to Arizona. Who knows what happens with Arizona? They're just Kyler Murray's looking like he's going to be the MVP of the league. They have DeAndre Hopkins. Somehow they're trying to resurrect AJ Green, which looks like it's working. Rondale Moore, Christian Kirk, JJ Watt's looking like JJ Watt, Chandler Jones. Isaiah Simmons is looking good. Buda Baker's looking good. What the hell are we going to do against the Arizona Cardinals? This is going to be a fun week to make videos for, because it's going I'm going to have to do some digging here. But I'm going to do it for y'all. Hey, if you did enjoy the video, I appreciate it. I thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me. I love interacting with you guys in the comments. Last week we had a lot of Denver hate with the recap. Unfortunately, a lot of them were right. They're probably going to come back for this video to tell me how stupid I am for thinking the Jaguars had a chance. But hey, I'm here for it. Denver fans, come on in. Thank you guys for watching as well. Stay safe and go Jaguars.